Let me first recall last year. Dr. Arvind Subramanian, who had just demitted office as Chief Economic Advisor, said pre-COVID, pre-budget, that the economy was in the intensive care unit. Dr. Abhijit Banerjee, the Nobel laureate, said pre-COVID, pre-budget, the economy was doing badly. The country had witnessed 8 quarters of slowdown. The 8th quarter was underway, but we knew that the economy will slow down further. It started at 8% in the beginning of 2018-19, and ultimately it ended with 3.1% or so in 2019-20. In my intervention last year, I had pointed out that the government was in denial. The government was refusing to accept the reality of a slowing economy. And the government believed wrongly that the problem of India's economy was cyclical and not structural. The Honorable Finance Minister and other spokespersons of the government flatly refused to accept our arguments, brushed aside our contentions, and continued to pretend that all was well. And I remember the dates and the occasions when they said the revival will happen next quarter. Be that as it may, 2 years of slowdown is a reality. And then the COVID struck. And we pleaded that while you address the basic issues that are afflicting the economy, please do 2 things. 1, transfer money to the poor people. Do a cash transfer. Secondly, use your mountains of food grain to give free rations to poor people. Even this morning, a distinguished economist has said, whatever may be said about the budget of 2021-22, it fails on the fact that even a small amount of cash transfer is not being given to the poor, and the rations are not being continued for the poor. Be that as it may, sir, this government continues to believe that supply-side responses will turn the economy around. I think there are 5 fingers on one hand. I can count who are those supply-side theorists. One is the Honorable Finance Minister herself. The other is the Chief Economic Advisor. The third is the distinguished economist who presides over the Niti Aayog. And the fourth is the Honorable Prime Minister's speechwriter. And I'm still looking for the fifth who wants to be counted on that side. Every economist in the world has said we have to stimulate demand. And the best way to stimulate demand is to put money in the hands of the people. This government has failed on that account. I repeat the charge. You are still not learning the lessons of the last 36 months. And I'm afraid, as a result of your not learning the lessons, another 12 months will be lost while the poor will suffer and suffer greatly. You have ignored the poor. You have ignored the unemployed. You have ignored those who have lost their jobs and still looking for those jobs. You have ignored the MSMEs which are closed down. You have ignored the jobs that were lost in the closed down MSMEs. If you ignore the bulk of India, who is this budget for? Before I answer the question, who is this budget for, let me give you some numbers. Major numbers are suspect in this budget, like last year's budget. Of course, you will always say the numbers unravel because of the pandemic. You won't have the excuse this year. These numbers are going to unravel. And like last year, the finance minister will have to make many budgets. Let's look at the reality of the numbers. You said you've raised about 10 lakh crore of additional borrowing. Where did this additional borrowing go? On the capital account, you are spending 27,078 crore. Let's add the grants and aid of capital investment, another 23,876 crore. The total additional capital investment in the current year, which will end on 31st March, is 50,954 crore. Let's say 51,000 crore. Where did the rest of the money go? Not for new investment, not for capital investment. Where did it go? Because you had three large holes. On the revenue side, your expenditure increased by 3,80,997 crore. On the revenue side, you had a revenue shortfall of 4,65,773 crore. And on the disinvestment, you had a shortfall of 1,78,000 crore. And that adds up to 10,24,770 crore. So your money that you borrowed is only going to fill the gaps, the huge craters that are there in the economy today. Next year won't be any better. The additional borrowing will go under the same heads. Mark my words today, and we'll come back next year. Mark my words, the revenue projections for next year are ambitious. There will be a shortfall. The disinvestment proceeds projections are ambitious. There will be a shortfall. And your revenue expenditure will increase more than what you have provided for, because you have underprovided under a large number of heads, including defense and health. This budget has done nothing for the poor of India, who continue to suffer. The unemployed, those who are looking for employment, those who have lost jobs, the MSMEs that are closed down, the migrant worker, those who are waiting for rations to be given to them for a few more months. All of them have been neglected in this budget. The subtext is, this is a budget for the rich, of the rich, and by the rich.